And thanks for joining us tonight for the launch attempt of a NASA Black Brant XII suborbital sounding rocket carrying the kinetics payload. This will be the sixth attempt on this mission. So far today, everything has gone as planned. The check out of the payload systems and the rocket systems have all gone well. And the weather here at Wallops is great, as you can see in the screen there. Clear blue skies. Safety is reporting out that the balloons that we fly to look at upper level winds, everything is green there, and our surveillance officer has reported out that as of 7:30, we had no ships downrange in the hazard area. So right now, Wallops is green. Principal investigator reported out just recently that the aircraft from National Land Research Center flying north of Bermuda with special cameras on board to view the barium vapor clouds. Everything is good to go there. They don't expect very little, if any, turbulence at their altitude they're flying at, so they should be able to get a good picture. Problem we are having tonight is clouds over Bermuda, which is our main camera site is located there, and they do have clouds there, so they are red. So the launch window tonight opens at 8:03 and closes at 8:53. For our missions, or count so far for this mission, we've had a series of nights where the winds were extremely high at the upper level wind altitudes. We've also had clouds in the area, both here and at Bermuda. And then Wednesday night, we had an issue where during the preparations for the launch attempt on Wednesday night, the third stage motor came in contact with a launcher support, which forced us to scrub for that night. Since then, we have been able to recover all the payload and all the motors were removed from the launcher so that we could recertify those. And the drive motors were tested. The launcher was load tested, and we checked all the lugs, make sure everything was good on the launcher itself. We replaced the third stage motor, which was the one that came in contact with the support. Abundance of caution, since it is a solid fuel motor, that we don't want to be flying a motor that could possibly have a cracked grain inside. And so we decided to replace that motor and put in a different one, so everything has been restaged. And then after we had everything back up on the launcher, we verified everything, went through all the checks last night, and so we're ready to go with the rocket.
TDRSL 1.
Go for TD.
Sir, be advised, latest balloon data is in and still green for the main vehicle, no issues.
Copy. Thank you, sir.
And the Black Brant XII that we're flying today is 71.5 feet tall. Payload that we're carrying is 900 pounds. We'll be flying to an apogee or peak altitude of 302 miles today. Black Brant XII is a four-stage rocket motor or rocket vehicle. It's the tallest of our Sonic rocket fleet. It's a four-stage vehicle. The first stage is a Talos, second stage a Terrier, third stage a Black Brant, and the fourth stage is a Nika. This is an extremely fast vehicle. So if you've seen things like the Antares fly from here, this is much faster when you're watching the view. So
TDPM on 1.
Go ahead, sir.
Yes, sir. Wish to gain concurrence in entering the terminal count, or at least going through the polling, with the understanding that we will be holding at T-minus 10 minutes until conditions in Bermuda improve.
Copy. And proceed as requested.
All stations, this is ROA on Channel 1. This is NRW 5950 Black Brant 12 launching from Pad 2 50K launcher. Please stand by for station checks. All stations should announce status as green or red on Channel 1. RC?
RC green.
M&O?
M&O green.
Programmer?
Programmer's green.
LC?
LC is green.
ACS?
ACS is green.
PLC?
PLC green.
PTM?
PTM green.
LPM?
LPM green.
Swarm?
Swarm green.
F10?
F10 green.
Dartmouth?
Dartmouth green.
UNH?
UNH green.
CPR?
CPR green.
EDS?
EDS green.
SCO?
SCO's green.
MM green.
PI?
PI green.
SRPO?
SRPO green.
PM?
PM green.
RSO?
RSO green.
TD?
TD's green.
Check 155.
All stations, this is the final briefing on hold procedures. Stations are responsible for reviewing the go-no-go criteria listed in MOD. Only stations annotated with an asterisk in previous step are permitted to call a hold. All the sites report red.
TD programmer.
Yes, sir. We're going to hold at 10.
Copy that.
And so we've completed the poll for final process to proceed into terminal count. However, we are still
TDRSL on 1.
Go for TD.
Can you meet me on 5, please?
Copy.
So we are still right in Bermuda, so we'll hold the count at T-minus 10 minutes. Launch window opens tonight at 8:03, and we do have until 8:53 p.m. to launch tonight. So as I mentioned, was mentioning a while ago that the
SRPO PM and MM on Channel 5 for me, please.
And PIPM.
So as we were talking about, the Black Brant XII is an extremely fast vehicle. The first stage tailor's motor burns for only 6.4 seconds. At that point, it's 1 mile altitude, traveling at over 1,000 miles an hour. Second stage Terrier will then ignite at 25 seconds into flight. At that point, burns out at 31.2, so it's just another, again, 6-second burn. At that point, it's 4.5 miles altitude and over 1,600 miles an hour is the speed. The Black Brant motor ignites at 35 seconds into the mission. It burns for about 30 seconds, 62.5 seconds. It burns out. At that point, it's 27 miles, traveling at more than 4,700 miles an hour. And the four-stage NECA motor will ignite at 95 seconds, burns out at 115.7. At that point, it's 60 miles altitude and flying at 7,000 miles an hour. The Black Brant is carrying the Kinetic Scale Energy Momentum Transport Experiment, or kinetics, from the University of Alaska Fairbanks. And it's designed to study a very fundamental problem in space plasmas, namely how our energy and momentum transported between different regions of space that are magnetically corrected. As part of this mission, will include the release of barium vapors that form 2 green violet clouds over the Atlantic Ocean north of Bermuda. The barium vapor is not harmful to the environment or public health. The 2 barium releases will occur between 9 to 10 minutes after launch at an altitude of 217 to 249 miles. And at that point, they'll be downrange from Wallops, 540 to 560 miles. The launch and the barium releases could possibly be seen throughout the eastern United States. So if you do see either one, please go onto our Facebook, Twitter sites, let us know, so we can get an idea of areas reached, and hopefully we can launch tonight. At least if your area is as clear as it is here at Wallops, you would have a good view of the activities.
TDSCO1.
Go ahead, sir.
Surveillance still working, no issues.
Copy. Thank you, sir.
And the Black Brant 12 rocket is a solid-fueled vehicle. All stages are solids. And it is spin stabilized, so we do not have any guidance systems on this vehicle. It's kind of like shooting an arrow. Once it's gone from the launcher, it heads to that target in space that we're looking at. To help the guide the vehicle or stabilize the vehicle, it's spin stabilized. So just as if you're looking at the back of an arrow, you'll see that the feathers are canted or not perpendicular to the arrow shaft. And then we do the same thing with the spins or the fins, and that allows the rocket to spin as it's flying, which helps stabilize the rocket. In addition, on this vehicle, since it is so tall, that we are flying spin motors. So you'll see right as the rocket leaves the launch rail and gets to the top, there are some small motors at the top of the first stage that will fire, which will then speed up the spin of the vehicle. So right now, we're at T-minus 10 minutes in holding for the launch of the Black Brant 12 carrying the kinetics experiment. Right now, everything here at Wallops is green. Winds are looking good, clear skies. We also have no issues with in our surveillance picture with aircraft or boats out in the danger areas. And so we're just waiting to see what happens in Bermuda, where our main camera ground station is located, to look at the vapor clouds, and they are still reporting cloudy skies, which makes that site red. So we'll continue to watch that. If by chance we did not launch tonight, tomorrow night will be the last launch attempt in the window that we have. The window for tomorrow night would be 8:04 to 8:54. If by chance we don't launch tomorrow night, then we'll have to look at other opportunities later on this year to see when we could conduct the mission. Delays that we're having with this mission, is I'm sure all those that have been following along with us, is kind of typical for a science mission of this type with sounding rockets, and that we're looking for a particular science event to occur or to study in space. And so not only do we need to have the proper conditions to launch the rocket safely, we also need to have, for example, tonight, we need clear skies, both here in Bermuda and also for an aircraft that we're using to look at the vapor trails. So, you have to have all these components fall into place, and so it's very typical for a mission of this type for us to have to do multiple counts. And this is also just a reminder that what you're seeing on the stream is about a 20 to 30-second delay from what is actually happening here at Wallops. And so take that into account if you're outside trying to watch the rocket, or also watch the vapor clouds when they form. And for those just joining us, we're still at T-minus 10 minutes and holding for the launch of the Black Brant XII with the kinetics experiment. Launch window tonight runs from 8:00, well, till now until 8:53, so we still have 50 minutes left in the launch window. So we're currently holding and waiting for Bermuda camera station for them to be able to see the stars. And at that point, we would go green.
Good evening, everybody. James Brierton here in Charlotte, North Carolina. We are awaiting our latest attempt to launch this rocket. I see so many of you right now in chat, and I'm going to be typing with you, but I thought maybe I'd crack this mic open and talk to you a little bit because we are going to keep listening to comms from Wallops. I'm not going to talk over them. They've got their commentary that comes through from time to time as well, too, but there's so many long moments of silence, and so many of you are asking, what's happening? So right now we are in a 10-minute hold. There's 10 minutes on the countdown clock. It is holding there. Things look beautiful right now here at Wallops in Virginia. But this whole mission is all about being able to see the rocket and its vapor trail behind it. And they need to be able to see that vapor trail for upwards of 10 minutes or more. And the problem is they've got a facility downrange in Bermuda with a camera fixated there and a camera orbiting on an aircraft. And that Bermuda station right now is socked in with clouds, so they have no visibility. So most launches require some sort of good weather and good cloud deck, but this one in particular is all about being able to see. And so if Bermuda can't see, they can't fly. We are in the launch window. It is 8:06 right now on Saturday, May the 15th, 2021. The launch window, as it has been for the last couple nights, is 45 minutes long. And even if they were to resume the countdown right now, we'd still have 10 minutes to count. So that means we need to resume this countdown by 8:43 to give us those 10 minutes before the window closes. Again, I'm not talking over the comms or the audio from Wallops. They've gone quiet, as they often do, and I will shut up as soon as they start talking. But I wanted to engage with so many of you watching right now, and a reminder that if you're looking for this vapor trail yourself, there's a couple things you need to keep in mind. One, it's going to come about 9 or 10 minutes after the launch. You're going to need to look towards Virginia, off the Carolina coast, and we're looking for a violet greenish vapor trail, again, about 9 or 10 minutes after launch. Going to have 30 to 60 seconds in the Carolinas to see it. A little bit longer, upwards of 2 minutes, as you make your way towards, say, the Mississippi River, but after that, your visibility is not going to work. They do use cameras from the 80s, or so it seems. Yes, I have no control over that. KAM, you're welcome. Nova Scotia. Where did I see this? So let me get up here on the screen real fast where this visibility window is. And I'm going to put it over my face and not the rocket. I'm going to keep the rocket on the screen. So let's get this map built here real fast.
And if you're listening in and you're hearing a lot of the abbreviations, PI stands for Principal Investigator, so that is the main person in charge of the science team, typically also a scientist himself or herself. And then the PM is the project manager, who is the person here at the Wallops Range to make sure that we have all of the supporting staff to support this mission. RSO is the range safety officer, and TD is the instructor.
Kristen watching live on YouTube in Bermuda. This whole thing right now hinges on Bermuda. Kristen, how are the clouds?
10 minutes for the Black Brant XII with the kinetics mission. Launch window tonight, again, continues until 8:53 p.m. tonight.
I'm very jealous of Junior, other folks checking in from
red
Florida.
Due to clouds over Bermuda. We have our camera station, main camera station there that will look at the vapor releases in the clouds they form. And so we would like to have good clear skies, obviously, for the camera to be able to get a good picture of the vapor releases.
As you can see, when Wallops starts talking, I stop talking. Here's the map. You can see green near Wallops up to 10 seconds of being able to see this vapor trail, and then it gets bigger as we move further away from Wallops. So towards Miami, down towards Tampa, 90 to 120 seconds. Nothing further than Chicago. And, Nova Scotia, I guess depending on where you are, you might be able to look south and catch a little bit of this. Now, the vapor trail is only going to be visible, again, for somewhere between 30 and 60 seconds for most of the Carolinas. You got to look east. You can't have any obstructions. No trees, no clouds, no nothing. And we're looking for like a violet-y, kind of greenish, kind of purple trail. And the trail's not going to happen for about 9 or 10 minutes afterwards, which is why we have set up our own camera to give us a secondary view of what's happening. Our own Dan Whitaker setting up that camera for us right now as we speak. There it is on the right side of your screen, looking live from the Outer Banks of North Carolina. And Dan is going to be in a good position for this to keep an eye out for that hard-to-see vapor trail. It's not a color that us humans can see very well. Not impossible. Will the vapor trail be visible if it's dark? Well, John, that's an excellent question. And we'll find out. I know that's not the answer you were looking for. But I am here to play hostess. And I don't want to pretend like I know all the answers. But I do have some mission facts printed out here, John. And I'm going to take a look at some of these to see if I can get you that answer. How high off the horizon should it be? Well, I'll tell you this. It's a suborbital sounding rocket. And it's going to look very similar at a distance to if you've ever observed the International Space Station flying over. So that's small. What time is launch, Michael? Well, that's the million-dollar question. We're inside our launch window. It goes until 8:53, and we have 10 minutes left on countdown. There's too many clouds in Bermuda. So the soonest the launch would be 10 minutes from now if they suddenly gave us the green light, but we're not going to get that green light until some of the clouds clear in Bermuda. And if we don't get off the ground tonight, we have one more launch attempt tomorrow. One more. Can you see it here in Jersey? Yes, assuming it gets off the ground. You'll have to look south towards where the ocean and North Carolina and Virginia all meet together. Most of Jersey's in blue.
And
Means you
now
have
for a little
10
bit of
to 30
trivia for
seconds.
you. We do call these rockets sounding rockets, which is from the nautical term sounding, which is to take measurements. So in the old days, they would drop lines down from the ships to measure the ocean depth, and that was called taking a sounding. So in the early days of these rockets, we used them to take measurements of the atmosphere, and so that's where we get the name sounding.
I'm going to get my glasses.
NASA's Sounding Rocket program is extremely busy this year.
TDR on one.
Go for TD.
Yes, sir. Latest balloon data still showing us green for upper level winds for the main vehicle. Do have a question for you, sir. Would you like us to pre-position at the current settings in the event we're able to pick up the count?
Yes, sir. If you got them, send them.
Sir, RLA, RSO?
Go for our way.
Sir, excuse me, yes, ma'am. 102.7 degrees azimuth, 80.6 degrees elevation.
Azimuth 102.7, elevation 80.6.
Good readback.
LC, this is our way.
This is LC.
Like to move launcher to our current wind-weighted settings, azimuth 102.7, elevation 80.6.
And work.
I'm James Brierton in Charlotte, North Carolina. You're watching the Carolina Weather Net.
We do have several launches, or quite a few launches this year, not only here at Wallops, but at other locations. For example, next Tuesday, we have a launch out of White Sands, New Mexico. And then we'll be back here at Wallops on the 26th.
ROA, this is LC. 50K launcher settings are azimuth 102.7, elevation 80.6.
Good readback.
And we are currently working on projects for next year, obviously. And next year, in addition to the White Sands and Wallops site, we'll also be launching out of Poker Flat, Alaska, Kwajalein Atoll in the Marshall Islands in the middle of the South Pacific, and also currently we are planning to head to Australia. And then we will wrap up the year with launches not only this year and next year out of Norway.
Great question in the chat. Why is Bermuda?
The rocket program is that we are mobile, and which gives us the flexibility to prepare the payloads here at Wallops, but we are able to launch them at various sites throughout the world to look at different types of science, looking at auroras, the ionosphere, astronomy missions, looking at the sun. So there's a wide variety of missions that sounding rockets are used for.
Bermuda is the observation station. After this rocket takes off from Virginia and heads out over the Atlantic Ocean, it's Bermuda that's going to observe it. That's the experiment that we're doing with this rocket. It needs to be visibly observed. That's why the cloud deck in Bermuda is a problem. That was a question from Samuel in the YouTube chat. No, they don't sound very confident at all. Of course, they've done this how many times now? Our first attempt was last Saturday. We did Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday? No, I think we skipped a day in there. We skipped a day in there, right? Because the rocket bumped up against the launcher. We've also scrubbed because of clouds. We've also scrubbed because of winds in the upper atmosphere. You're watching the Carolina Weather Net, our nonstop weather stream powered by the Carolina Weather Group. If you haven't checked us out before, we do a show about science, weather, and technology. You can check out our recent show with James Spann or our New Year's show with Jim Cantori. Yeah, I think Nicholas is jumping the gun. Oh, hey, Honey Mustard, you're back, man. What will happen if tonight is scrub, Honey Mustard? We will come back tomorrow. Tomorrow is the last pre-scheduled window. And if we don't get this rocket off the ground tomorrow, then they got to go back to the drawing board. About how many meters tall is this rocket? I shouldn't read questions I don't know the answers to, but I have mission facts here. There is a second observation point. That one's in an aircraft flying around. So we are using a Black Brant XII sounding rocket. Let's find out how big this thing is. It's skinny, though, isn't it? After launch, we had questions about the Vapor. The Vapor will be released approximately 9 minutes and 30 seconds, upwards of 10 minutes, after launch at approximately 217 to 249 miles altitude over the Atlantic Ocean, which is about 540 to 560 miles downrange from Wallops, just north of Bermuda. So for those of you wondering about the Vapor...
TDRSO, Channel 1. Go for TD.
It'll be over the ocean.
Latest balloon data still showing us in the green for the main vehicle, no issues. Copy. Can get you to move to 5.
Yes, sir, move to 5.
Balloon data is a way to observe the weather not at the ground. It will literally, a balloon carries up weather instruments into the sky, and at all of those different layers is taking observations, most importantly here, about winds. There are no people on this rocket. This is not a rocket with people. This is a rocket that is going to release vapor to help us understand the transfer of energy in the atmosphere. It's on a Black Brant XII. It's a 4-stage, solid proponent sounding rocket. And I'm still trying to figure out how tall it is because somebody asked. The vehicle is capable of lifting anywhere from 1,000 pounds. This rocket is normally flown in the northern latitudes in the winter months where magnetic anomalies such as the northern lights are visible. That is all related to what we're doing here. We're listening vapor, we're checking energy transfer, we're checking magnetic energy fields.
PM.
Payment.
Can you meet me on 5 real quick?
Yes, sir.
Those are the radio communications out of Wallops. I'm James Brierton in Charlotte, so we're listening to the radio communications in Wallops, and then they also have a man who's doing commentary who hops on from time to time as well. The length of this rocket is 49 feet. Or at least, that's the manufactured length of this rocket. We're essentially kind of making our own northern lights. And they're gonna check things like energy transfer and magnetic conductive. 17 meters length, 45 to 60 feet tall, says Richard. Okay. Now, when you guys scream scrub into the chat, I suspect you're trying to throw us all off our game since we've been here so far before. I don't know if you're rooting for Scrub or if you want to watch the box set of Scrubs, the TV show behind me. What time are they launching it, Bobby? That is the million-dollar question. So we've got a 45-minute window that this thing can be launched in. We're currently in it. It started at 8:03 Eastern. It's currently 8:22 Eastern, and it goes till 8:53 Eastern. And we have 10 minutes left on the countdown. So we have to count down for 10 more minutes, which means we need to resume the countdown by 8:43, and we can't do that until it stops being cloudy in Bermuda. Left side of your screen, you're looking live at our NASA feed from Wallops. That feed comes to us from NASA. On the right-hand side of your screen is a Carolina Weather Group camera from our own Dan Whitaker on the Outer Banks of North Carolina with a great unobstructed view of the ocean.
PM,
Go for PM.
it's in work right now, and I'll keep you updated.
Thank you, sir.
Emily, scrub is the word for if it gets canceled. If they can't fly tonight, it's called a scrub. Now, that hasn't happened yet.
And we're currently 15 minutes into tonight's window. Still have 30 minutes remaining for the launch of the Black Brant XII. Everything here at Wallops still remains green. However, the camera station in Bermuda, which is looking at, will be used to look at the vapor releases. They currently have cloud cover, and so they're red at that site.
Radar is only going to show rain. So let me pull up satellite. Not to get particular, but let's look at Bermuda. See if I can get this zoomed in here a little bit. All right. So you got Carolinas, you got Virginia. You can see the clouds that they're having to deal with out over the Atlantic and out towards Bermuda. We do have some precipitation and some moisture in the atmosphere that is being highlighted for us. Now, I don't know if they schedule like this or not, but it's May, and we're not yet into the Atlantic hurricane season. And so there's no hurricane activity, no tropical cyclone activity out there in the Atlantic. And that is helpful. Although, not that it couldn't happen. Mother Nature doesn't use calendars.
PI, this is PM on 1. Can you meet me on 5 real quick?
So we've been here streaming each and every night for you. We'll be back again tomorrow if it comes to that. Cloudy with a chance of scrub is the most accurate weather forecast I've seen. Yes, that's right, Justin. I'm James Brierton in Charlotte, North Carolina. If you're new to the Carolina Weather Group, here it comes, the obligatory like and subscribe so that if we do have to come back here tomorrow, you know. If you want to watch future launches, you know. But also, we are a weekly show dedicated to weather, science, technology, and more. Yes, it's called the Carolina Weather Group. But no, you don't have to live in the Carolinas in order to enjoy it. We're just from the Carolinas. When we talk to James Spann in Birmingham, that's not in the Carolinas. When we talk to Jim Cantori in Atlanta, that's not in the Birmingham. No, that's not in the Carolinas. Atlanta's definitely not in Birmingham. And Atlanta and Birmingham are definitely not in the Carolinas. Yeah, I'd love to go meet on 5. I want to know what they're talking about on Channel 5. They clearly don't want us listening to Channel 5. Kings Mountain, hello. Not too far from me. Not too far. I'm here in Charlotte. We've got guys on our team in the foothills. We've got people in Raleigh and South Carolina and Charleston. Charleston's not a bad place to watch this launch tonight. If you're just joining us, that map on the right side of your screen that just popped up, we're waiting for this rocket on the left side of your screen to potentially take off. In about 10 minutes after it takes off, it's going to release some vapor that, if all goes according to plan, will be visible if you have a nice clear view of the eastern sky out towards the ocean. Now, the colors mean that in green, closest to the launch area, you go to 10 seconds to see that vapor. The vapor comes 10 minutes after launch, and you've got 10 seconds to see it. What a great deal. The blue is 10 to 30 seconds of length. Purple is 30 to 60. Yellow is 60 to 90. And blue, well, you got upwards of 2 minutes. We all got to wait about 10 minutes in order for the vapor to come out. Meet you outside? Okay. That's different.
Set up here.
Dan Whitaker, it's good to hear your voice, my friend. You are live with us as we are continuing to hold.
Yep, I'm just here at the Outer Banks in Salvo, North Carolina. I've got a great view of the eastern and northeastern sky, and we will see here soon if we'll get a view of this thing or not.
Dan, we're looking at your camera right now. Darkness comes over you there in the Outer Banks. Now, I think you told me earlier in the day you've been out there for a launch before. Not sure if it was the same type of launch or different type of launch, but what's that view like from OBX?
So where I am right now in Salvo is one of the darkest places that you can go to in North Carolina. There's virtually no light pollution out here, and the view of all the stars and any subsequent night activity such as rocket launches is amazing. I mean, last rocket launch I saw, you could see green trails coming out like a V shape behind it, and trailing across the entire sky. It was extraordinary.
Well, we are hoping that this thing will get off the ground tonight, Dan. We've been trying since last Saturday, if my calendar serves me correctly, and we've got one more attempt tomorrow. Will you be out there again tomorrow if this thing gets scrubbed tonight?
That's right. Yeah, we'll have everything set up and ready to go again if we need to. We will try and do what we can to see this thing over the ocean. So,
well, we appreciate you providing this view. It'll give us another angle to look at. NASA's got views there at Wallops and an aircraft flying out over the Atlantic. I've been meaning to see if actually that shows up in any of our flight tracking software. And then, of course, their main observation stations in Bermuda. And that's our problem tonight. I don't want to blame Bermuda, but I'm blaming the clouds over Bermuda. And they need to be able to see clearly. Right now, they can't do that.
Yeah, I don't know if you can see it in my camera or not anymore since it's getting darker, but off to the right of the screen there, you can actually see some of the cumulus clouds that we have off our North Carolina coast. There's a nice kind of just pretty line of cumulus clouds. They looked like it was putting down some rain earlier, but yeah, that's about all we have in the sky over here, and a clear view to the northeast.
Well, we have until 8:53 to get this thing off the ground. And we'll probably know whether or not that's going to happen by 8:43, because we've got 10 minutes left in the countdown. The NASA crews at Wallops are continuing to stand by, hopefully feeling optimistic, if not cautiously. But they might as well keep everything live and ready to go, because I've got a hot rocket there on the pad. They're all set up. Junior, thanks for subscribing. It's dark and you're going fishing. All right. Whatever floats your boat. Spain. Pablo in Spain. Hello. I'm James. This is the Carolina Weather Group. We talk science, weather, and technology, like rocket launches. When we're not doing rocket launches, Dan Whitaker is out chasing severe weather. So that's another thing you can catch from us. Matter of fact, the last couple weeks on our show, which shamelessly comes out on Wednesdays, by the way.
Recently joining us, we're currently at 10 minutes of the launch of the Black Brant XII rocket from NASA's Wallops Flight Facility here in Virginia. Launch winds tonight does go until 8:53. We currently are green here at the range at Wallops, with the winds acceptable as is cloud cover. We have good blue skies here at Wallops, and then we also have a green surveillance picture with nothing downrange in the hazard areas. We are currently red, however, in Bermuda, which is our main camera ground station, and so we would like to have that cleared out, and so until that happens, we will remain red.
Let's go and check that satellite picture again over Bermuda. Still looking fairly cloudy. I don't know, Dan. We got 11 minutes to get this cleared up.
Maybe the weather will perform a quick turnaround here.
Anna says, sweetie, don't lie to us. This ain't launching. I mean, we can hope it's going to launch. We're going to sit here until they tell us otherwise.
Well, until then, might as well kind of mention here at the Outer Banks If you haven't been to the Outer Banks of North Carolina before, it's a beautiful place. It's a strip of barrier islands located right off the main sound and coastline area of North Carolina. And it is gorgeous out here. There's good, nice space for everybody, lots of beach. And in 2 weeks, the North Carolina Black Bear Festival is going to be happening in Plymouth, North Carolina, just at the eastern part of the state. So if you get a chance, that's a great festival.
All right, for those of you in our live chat, D-Train's been putting time out. I'm sure that will teach D-Train. Internet trolls tend to be ones who take time out real seriously. I don't know if all of you who out there who are screaming it's been scrubbed are just over it already or bored.
Well, while we're waiting here to see
Dan.
what the final, while we're seeing what the final launch status is going to be, just a kind of quick note about what's going on here in North Carolina as far as our gas crisis is concerned. We are still looking like a lot of gas stations are out of gas. So I actually traveled across the state today from Greensboro all the way to the Outer Banks, and I was able to find a gas station here and there to fill up on, but it still is a little bit interesting. You can get gas, but you have to use your resources such as apps like Gas Buddy and kind of just looking around trying to figure out what's actually operating. So it's interesting times, but you can still travel. You just have to,
Go ahead, sir.
Think a little bit ahead.
Yes, sir. Latest balloon data still indicates that we are green for upper level winds for the main vehicle. I'd like to ask if you'd like to do a launcher setting refresh.
Sir, send it.
Very well. ROA RSO on channel 1. Launcher setting
Radio
refresh,
communications
please.
out of Wallops.
Azimuth 103.4. Elevation 80.6. That's a good readback.
This is LC.
Keith says launch it already. Lenore Fire and Rescue, thank you for watching and thank you for all you do.
ROA, this is LC. 50K launcher settings are azimuth 103.4, elevation 80.6.
Programmer TV.
Programmer, go ahead.
Copy. So we're going to pick up the clock at 0:43, and we're going to take it down to 3 minutes.
Programmer copy.
Wow.
0:43. Take it down to 3.
ROA RSO, channel 1. So those last settings that I gave you will suffice for step number 158.
Andre's going to go watch Scrubs. Andre, can I offer you a DVD?
And again, we're still red in Bermuda. However, we are going to pick up the count in about 7 minutes at 8:43
PI
p.m.
and TD, this is PM. Can you meet me on 5?
So they launched by NASA from Wallops in Virginia. We're listening to the radio communications. They've also got somebody doing commentary. When they talk, we stop. I'm James Brierton in Charlotte. We have the voice of Dan Whitaker in the Outer Banks. We have a picture from Dan Whitaker, too, but it's a little dark there now. Yes, Charles is right. Do not watch the
However,
go ahead. Do not watch the final season of Scrubs. Charles is right. Dan, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just going to mention here that we're hoping that the live stream camera here can pick up the brightness of the rocket launch. I'm anticipating that it will. However, we've also got a second camera set up that we'll be taking some pictures and some video of. So regardless, we'll have some great imagery and video to share with you.
That's right. Dan Whitaker and all of his photography knowledge is out there. We're getting the live pictures. He's going to record on a separate camera. If you've been watching our Carolina Weather Group show, Dan in the last couple of weeks has been telling us about his chase. 2011, Dan, right, in Alabama. We had James Spann on talking about the anniversary, 10 years of that. So if you're new to our channel, go check that out. That was a devastating and heartbreaking tornado outbreak, but some outstanding imagery of Mother Nature at its fullest force from Dan Whitaker.
Right, and we're fortunate that I actually spent the last couple of weeks out here in the Midwest chasing storms, and we are fortunate that there hasn't been any major tornadoes or anything to be too destructive out there as of this storm season so far. There's still more time to come, but yeah, it's mostly just looks like pretty storms in the plains for the most part while I was out there. So always good to see that.
Looking at satellite imagery now on the right side of your screen, it's those clouds over Bermuda that's our problem tonight, folks, because they need a clear view to be able to look into the sky for tonight's mission. Tonight is all about studying the transfer of energy in the atmosphere. There's a lot of references in the mission guides to the Northern Lights, and it's somewhat similar to that, probably on a much smaller scale, but it's going to launch from Wallops, head out over the Atlantic Ocean towards Bermuda at an altitude of 217 to 249 miles altitude over the Atlantic Ocean, some 540 to 560 miles downrange.
LBM. Yeah, I'm trying to raise OSS. Can you have OSS come up on channel 10, please?
Ooh, channel 10. That one's different than channel 5.
Yeah, copy that.
The point here is to study the vapors and the transfer of energy. So immediately after the release of the vapor, the clouds are a mixture of green and violet. That phase only lasts about 30 seconds when the unionized component of the cloud has diffused away. After exposure to sunlight, the vapor clouds quickly ionize and take on a violet color. Violet like purple. They don't have much sunlight left. That's for sure. What does Bermuda have? Bermuda has clouds. There it is. There's a satellite for you. Our launch window closes at 53. Pretty clear out there in Norfolk. Norfolk? I can never say that right. It's so close to us. I should know how to say it. It's a big city. But yeah, we can see here at Wallops that it's clear as well, too. And it's clear where Dan is in the Outer Banks of North Carolina. Although I think Dan said he saw a couple cumulus clouds, and that's about what we had today in Charlotte. A little mix of sun and clouds, but otherwise, very comfortable day. Very comfortable.
PI to PM.
Good for PM.
We really want this to happen, too.
We are go to pick up count at 0043 UTC.
Okay, PM copies. And TD, this is PM. Plan is to pick up the count at 0043.
Copy.
I'm always afraid I'm going to accidentally curse when I say Norfolk.
TD NASCO.
Correct, sir.
Do you want to dial into that FAA conference?
Negative.
Yeah, you just got to let it flow, James.
I know, I can't hold it back. I got to do it.
Norfolk.
And we're going to pick up the count.
I live in
just a couple minutes, 10-minute mark, and the launch window tonight does go until 10:03.
No, Brian, it's not the biggest stream, but it's not half bad. Also, for those of you who are playing along politely in the chat, thank you very much. I could spend all night banning people, but it ain't gonna work. Because Google accounts are free.
You'll need more arms and more hands, James.
I know.
M&O PM.
M&O.
You're cleared to turn on data recorders.
Can work.
I mean, the more you want to spam the chat, the more the algorithm is going to love it. So.
In 10, 9, 8, 7, 6,
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Mark. 10 minutes and counting.
10 minutes and counting. It's 8:43.
PM copies. Check 160.
It is 8:43. We have 10 minutes and counting until, well, I think we're going to stop at 3 minutes. Did they not say that earlier? We do have it until 8:53 to launch this thing.
Check 161.
CPR check 163.
EDS check 164.
M&O PM.
This 7-0.
Check ground station levels and confirm.
In work.
Kind of wish I could scrubbed. Wish I could remove the user scrubbed. I'm James Brierton, Charlotte. Dan Whitaker, our storm-chasing photographer extraordinaire, live at the Outer Banks with us as well. You're looking at live pictures courtesy of NASA on the left side of your screen. Why is the host not wearing a mask? For the same reason you don't wear a mask in your house. It's your house.
PM copies. Check 165.
I can either ban people or talk to you all and try to provide you some information. I'm leaning towards the latter. So we're waiting for the launch of this Black Brant XII sounding rocket. It's got a payload on it that is going to release a vapor about 10 minutes after launch. It's going to take off from Wallops, which is in Virginia, and go out over the Atlantic Ocean towards Bermuda. It's going to release a vapor, and about 10 minutes after launch, should give us a greenish, purplish,
record signal strength and
small streak in
deviation
the
for
sky.
all links. Verify nominal levels and interrogate transponder and verify good 5 code signal.
In work.
So if you're waiting to try to watch this, you need a clear view of the eastern sky if you're in the Carolinas. Let's put the map on the screen, shall we? If you're in the Northeast, you got to look south. If you're in the Mid-Atlantic, you got to look east. If you're in the Southeast, you got to look northeast. This thing is going to travel from the Virginia coast out towards Bermuda, and you can see that 10 minutes after launch, when it launches the vapor, you're only going to have
check 170.
small window of time.
Swarm
to
check
actually see it.
171.
ACS check 172.
There's no intentional delay on our stream, but it is the
PM,
internet, and it
M&O.
comes with an inherent
Coded
delay.
and confirm nominal. Radars 3, 5, and 18 have a good 5 code, and radar 3 will be on scan.
PM copies. Check 167, 169.
The map is the visibility for the vapor. Visibility for the vapor. I know you guys are enjoying my red cup. It's the Starbucks holiday collection from 4 years ago. Dan and I are continuing to do our best here to make sure we're not talking over any of the communications from Wallops. That's not our intent. But we also know that this isn't like most NASA TV productions where they bring out all the commentary and the anchors. There are these long periods of silence where people just continue to ask questions into chat, and we don't want to let them go unanswered. So we're going to try to answer as many of them as we can in these windows of time we have to talk. This rocket is not headed to Mars. This rocket is not carrying people, and it is not carrying anything harmful. Yeah, I'm happy to show the map again. All right, here's the map. So as far south as, I'm going to say Miami, but it's not really that far south. I got a little bit of an angle from Tampa up towards the Panhandle. You can have 90 to 120 seconds to see the vapor.
Calling out the various steps that we go through for this.
PLC check 173.
PTM check 174.
PLC check 175.
PTM check 176.
For this mission,
Go for RSO.
they're about 200 steps.
Provide final wind-weighted setting.
Final settings are 102.2 azimuth, 80.5 elevation.
Azimuth 102.2, elevation 80.5.
Good readback.
Check 177. LC, this is ROA.
This is LC.
Set 50K launcher to final wind-weighted settings. Azimuth 102.2, elevation 80.5.
And work.
The map you saw is from NASA. Vapors are not released at launch. They're released approximately 9 minutes and 30 seconds to 10 minutes after launch as the rocket is traveling over the Atlantic Ocean from Wallops to just north of Bermuda. After exposure with sunlight, the vapor clouds quickly ionize and take on a violet color. Immediately after release of the vapor, the clouds are a mixture of green and violet, and that phase only lasts about 30 seconds when the unionized components of the clouds diffuse away.
Bermuda is red. We are no-go for launch tonight.
PM
That,
copy
boys and girls.
All over Channel 1. This is PM. We are a no-go for launch this evening. Stand by for further direction.
Program hold the clock.
We are now officially scrubbed. This launch is not happening tonight. We will attempt again tomorrow. We'll hang on to this stream to hear a little bit more commentary from the Wallops crew. Do like and subscribe. We will have an event live stream tomorrow right here on the Carolina Weather Group and streaming live on our nonstop channel, the Carolina Weather Net. The launch window tomorrow will be 8:04 to 8:54, 1 minute later than it was tonight. Tomorrow is the last night for this mission to potentially get off the ground. If they can't get off the ground tomorrow.
Tonight's launch attempt of Black Brant XII for the kinetics mission due to cloud cover over Bermuda, which is our location for our main camera station for viewing the vapor clouds. Our next and final attempt is currently scheduled for tomorrow night, Sunday, May 16th. Launch window tomorrow night is 8:04 to 8:54
ROA
p.m.
LPM, permission to lower launcher.
Standby one. MM, this is ROA.
This is MM.
Are you good if we lower launcher, or do you want to wait till you turn systems off?
No, we can start lowering.
LPM, this is ROA. You can proceed as requested.
Copy. Thank you.
And again, tomorrow night is our last possible launch in this window that we have.
Go for ROA.
Can we cease interrogation?
This is getting really old, Barbara. We're going to do it one more time tomorrow. Launch window starts at 8:04. Our stream will be up by about 7:30, if not earlier. We were a little earlier tonight because the NASA feed came up, so did we. I'm James Brierton, Charlotte. You've been watching Deja Vu all over again here on the Carolina Weather Net. Dislike because scrubbed. Well, I guess that's fair. As long as it wasn't dislike because of your host. Dan Whitaker still on the line with us. Dan, will you be back tomorrow with your same vantage point there from OBX?
That's right. We'll have this running again, and currently right now you can see this little light coming in front of the camera. That's actually some sort of boat on the ocean. So
it is very faint.
That is our current view. But yes, we will be set up again tomorrow. The earlier this thing can launch, the better light we'll have to see. But otherwise, we'll have the view up and running for sure.
So yeah, let's see. Our launch window opens tomorrow at 8:04. And when we got there today, we had a little bit of sunlight left. Now, our sunset time for tomorrow is 8:20. The legal sunset for tomorrow is 8:20. As you can see, by the time we get to the tail end of that launch window, it is pretty dark outside. So here's what we're going to do. All of us are going to go watch Scrubs, except for the last season. And then we're going to come back tomorrow to try this one more time, because I'm optimistic that tomorrow's going to work, Dan. So we appreciate your vantage point there. Now it's 8:53. If you're watching on the Carolina Weather Net, we'll have another check of your local forecast coming up at 8:55, as we do at 25 and 55 past every hour, before we return you to the best of the Carolina Weather Group, our weekly show discussing weather, science, technology, and more, not just for people in the Carolinas, but for all of you. And a couple questions that had come through. Yes, the Carolina Weather Group does chase storms. Dan Whitaker, who's in OBX tonight, is often the person doing that. This is not a military rocket. This is a science rocket and a NASA mission. We need to talk about a new DVD box set tomorrow, Charles. Okay, hang on. So, obviously, ironically, I've got this is not the entire box set of Scrubs, but this is a lot of them. And it's a good show. But fun fact, and then we'll let you all go. If you're going to watch this show, try to get your hands on the DVDs, because they are the only ones with the original music. Like so many old shows, when they license the music, they license it for broadcast and not for streaming. So if you watch Scrubs on streaming services such as Hulu, sometimes the music track has changed. There you go, Dan. If nothing else, we learned that tonight.
There we go. I'll have to go out and get the DVD set right now.
I'll hook you up. I'm James Brierton, Charlotte, North Carolina. Thanks for joining us here in the Carolina Weather Net. We'll be back tomorrow for another launch attempt of this rocket. It's deja vu all over again. Why is tomorrow the last possible day? That's a great question I don't fully know the answer to, but I will tell you just holistically, there are things to be considered when launching, and that also includes other things that are in the atmosphere and in space. And so you must reserve time to launch things. And so you have your launch and you have your backups, but pretty sure they can't just endlessly give you time because there are other people who want to launch things. Honey Mustard, so glad you're here once again. We should just stream Scrubs, and I would if we could. That would be awesome. But we will be streaming our nonstop channel about all things weather called the Carolina Weather Net, which, if I dump back over right now, should have a good check of your local forecast for you here in the Carolinas. It was beautiful today. Hopefully you got a chance to get out and enjoy it if you're in the Carolinas. And Charles, it's right. You just subscribed? Oh, I love it, man. Thank you. Amanda, it is not launching now. It is not happening tonight. It is going to happen tomorrow. And Dan, the control room's told me I got to stall for 4 more minutes because I've already missed our local forecast on the Carolina Weather Net. Apparently, you can't join that in progress. So we will get you back over to regular scheduled programming if you're on the Carolina Weather Net stream here at the top of the hour. If you're watching on our special standalone Wallops stream, we'll stop at 9 o'clock. But jump on over to the Carolina Weather Net and check out what's happening. And we'll be back tomorrow with live coverage. You can see the rocket is lowering. They are going back into a powered-down standby mode. Hopefully, yes, SpaceX did launch earlier today more of their Starlink satellites, and so if you got a chance to check that out, you did at least see one launch today, and that's good. That's good. Belinda, so glad you're still here. Blink, it is scrubbed. You a gamer weather reporter? Well, yes, I believe those words could all be used in some form or fashion to describe me. Dan, we've been meaning to play that virtual storm chasing game, and I think when we do it, YouTube's going to be the platform we put it on. Are you up for that?
Oh yeah, we'll definitely do that. I should have my setup ready for that game here shortly, and yeah, maybe we do it this week.
That would be a lot of fun. We do have a weekly weather show that comes out Wednesday nights here on YouTube, and that comes out every Wednesday. We have live storm coverage when that is required. We have rocket launches like this one, but we're hoping to add some weather-related, nerdy gaming things to it, like the virtual storm chase game. And if Dan is half as good as a PC gamer as he is a storm chaser, I better go brush up on my storm chasing skills.
Yeah, that's probably the nerdiest of all things is following rain and chasing storms in real life. So I'm sure virtually you're just compounding that.
James in chat, thank you so much for watching with us tonight. We're going to be powering down ourselves here in the next 90 seconds or so. Can we talk about the pending hurricane season, Shane? That's a great segue. We just recorded a show this week with Carolina State University's Dr. Phil Klotzbach. He is one of the leading names in hurricane forecasting. We've had him on the show for at least the past 2 springs, if not more. And that show is being edited right now, and that will be released very soon because the hurricane season is 2 weeks away. 2 weeks away. We just wrapped up Hurricane Preparedness Week, hosted by the National Hurricane Center. So in the next 2 weeks, we will have our show with Dr. Phil out, and he'll walk you through everything he's thinking for this upcoming Atlantic hurricane season after a record-breaking one last year. Oh, before we go, yes, I've been asked about this screen behind me. So this is a really cool screen on the wall behind me. It's a board, a computer board with little LEDs on it, and it's a little hard to see, but they are real-time locations, allegedly, of trains. I'm trying to get a closer shot of it for you all, of trains on the New York City subway. And it's made by a company called Train Tracker. They also have one, and this would have been fitting for tonight, they also have one that is a satellite display of cloud cover, and we're hoping to get that one too, but that's New York City MTA data being displayed as little LEDs, and Train Tracker is a TrainTrackr. There's no E. They've got ones for Boston and London and other cities. And if I'm not mistaken, they're based out of London and Boston. And so they expanded to include New York City in their library. So that's it. We'll see you back here tomorrow. I'm James Brierton in Charlotte. That's Dan Whitaker in the Outer Banks. And thanks for checking out this live stream from the Carolina Weather Group on our nonstop channel, the Carolina Weather Net. Good night.
See you all tomorrow night.